Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well, and this is another episode of my weekly vlog, and I hope you find it interesting. I just had this random idea to talk about this subject because I received an email from a friend of mine who lives abroad, and this is regarding her daughter. She's 13 years old. I know her very well. She's an absolute darling, very kind-hearted, sweet girl, and someone who deserves to be treated in the best possible way. But recently my friend noticed certain changes in her. She was not exactly the same bubbly, cheerful girl as she was even a few weeks ago, and my friend is quite astonished as to how her little girl suddenly talking less, not reacting at all to situations, keeping herself to her room, and behaving in a very weird way. So my friend decided to pursue this whole situation and understand what is going wrong, which was obviously a very, very good move on her part. And as she quietly went about talking to teachers and other people in the school, she came to find out that for some reason her daughter was not exactly behaving the same way as she used to. Something has changed. She is not taking part in any school activity. Her performances were not going as well as they used to. Her grades were going down, and even her promptness in various classes reduced considerably. So my friend was obviously very, very surprised and quite concerned. So when my friend tried to find out what is wrong with her daughter, or what is actually bothering her so much, why is she being so quiet and withdrawn, she found out that her child is being body shamed in school by some of her friends and some other kids who are senior to her. In short, she is being singled out for her physical structure. Here I may add that the little girl I'm talking about, the 13-year-old, ever since she turned 10, she's been putting on a little weight, and it's not that it was unnoticed, but then she has plenty of growing years ahead of her. So it was thought that maybe with activity, with swimming and several activities, and she was active on several of those fronts, so it will all go away. It was never a matter of great concern at home with her parents or with anyone around, till the day this issue was brought up at school by some of her friends. It came as a shock to the young mind, because nobody else had ever mentioned to her about a weight problem, or that she looked ugly and fat before at home or anywhere else that she went. This was new to her, and she really did not know how to handle it. She felt alone, and then in her own way of thinking, she probably thought that yes, I am ugly, and probably my parents are not very proud of me. They don't want to hurt me, so they don't talk to me about it. But then I am fat and I am ugly. It was a very complicated situation for over a week now, where it was difficult to understand all that was going on in the mind, in the very young, fresh mind of a 13-year-old. What external circumstances can do to them. It was quite scary. I have worked with students, so I know exactly how they behave and react in certain situations. Now, friends happen to be one of the closest things to a child's heart during the school years. Friends constitute an important part of their life, and when that friend laughs or ridicules them for any reason, it's a feeling of betrayal, it's a feeling of being cheated and deserted. There is absolutely nothing that is more refreshing to me than a cup of hot coffee. And usually I have about 6 to 7 cups of tea every day. And for that I make a sugar measurement of not more than half a spoon, half a teaspoon. That's very little actually. I just touch upon the sugar thing. But when it comes to coffee, I increase the sugar a bit, because without that little bit of sweetness, I don't like the bitterness of the coffee. In the same way, I don't like bitterness in life. You must be thinking that if today I've started this topic related to children and overweight and things like that, I must be some kind of a psychological expert. I'm not. But yes, I have studied psychology right from my school years, so I know a little bit of how it works. But one of the reasons that I have started this topic is that I have faced a similar situation even in my adult life. Actually, I was not at all overweight or fat or any of that in my school years or college years, not even in my early working years. But later on, maybe because I stopped working after a while, and maybe because I was into a profession where I needed to sit and write for long hours. Sometimes I would sit for as long as 4-5 hours at a stretch and finish an assignment, and this probably led to some kind of problem with my posture. I don't know, or maybe it made me more hungry and I ate more without noticing. So I really put on a lot of fat at an age where normally people don't put on a lot of weight. But the point was that I was conscious of it, and I'm doing my best to reduce as well, watch my diet, watch my exercise and things like that. But life is not just about all that. Sometimes you need to be yourself and need to let your hair down just the way you want to be. If I want to look fit, I will look fit. The day I don't want to look fit, I will just go about eating as many ice creams as I want and not care what the whole world says or thinks or feels. Even if I become as fat as a balloon and become an eyesore for the whole world, I won't give a damn. But explain that to a 13-year-old. 13-year-olds don't know that. So one important thing that parents must keep in mind is to involve themselves in their children's lives more often than they do usually, and investigate if there is a problem. Just don't let them be, because if they are brooding or if they are just leaving that problem inside their head in the confines of their room without telling you, they will never come up to you and tell you. Then you may actually encourage a bigger problem for the few coming years, and you don't want to do that. Trust me, if you knew the repercussions of that, you wouldn't want to do that. Now, one more thing I have seen around me is that when a child is chubby and overweight, and people talk about it a lot, not just their friends in school, sometimes their teachers, sometimes their relatives, immediate family members. So you need to be on your child's side. Give them the assurance that things are under control, that they are not some kind of a standalone piece of human being who is to be ridiculed or talked about all the time whenever the family gets together. And if somebody says something about your child's weight, don't tell him immediately afterwards, you need to run, you need to join a sport, you need to go swimming. No, they don't need to do anything just because somebody said so. Explain to the child that they need to get into fitness or exercises because they will feel better when they are in shape. They'll feel lighter, they'll feel healthier, they'll feel more active, and certainly they'll look better, much better. So it's important for us to know that whatever we do it for ourselves, not because what the whole world feels or because the whole world thinks we are fat and we have to get back in shape. No. If you remember your childhood, at the drop of a hat, at the slightest discomfort, you would run to your parents for a solution. And now, having become parents yourselves, you have to do the same for your children. And just because I spoke of a 13-year-old girl who incidentally happens to be my friend's daughter, does not mean this is an issue that happens only with girls. No, body shaming is an issue equally dangerous for girls and boys at school and college levels, or even later than that. And for that, there are solutions, of course, and the solutions are not exactly getting back into shape, doing exercises, following a diet. That is something that one should do for their own health reasons, not because they have to be accepted by others unless and until they do so. So that's something which is very important, which will help them not feeling demoralized, or you have to stand there for your kids in the same way your parents stood for you. And standing by your kids, it could be at any age. It could be a son or a daughter. Just because incidentally my friend happens to have a daughter does not mean it happens only with girls. Boys are equally victims of body shaming at all age groups. Parents have to be engaged in their children's life in a very active manner to know what is going on in their child's life, what is affecting them, what are their choices, what boosts their confidence and what demoralizes them instantly. That is how you will know how to remove all obstacles in the way of your child's growth. Another advantage of being an active player in your child's life is that child never feels alone. They treat their parents like friends, and they never really feel that the friends outside home are the only ones they have. If you treat yourselves like parents, they will learn to be scared of you, learn to hold back facts from you, even if they are disturbed or troubled. So you have to give them the assurance of and that hand of friendship as they grow up, so that they can come to you sooner. It was really nice to talk to you all on this topic. Please let me know if you would like to hear from me more on this or any other similar relevant topics. I would be very happy if you subscribe to my channel and press on that like button, share button and the bell icon so that you are the first to know when I post my next video. Bye for now. Take care. Take care of your kids. Take care of your family. Most importantly, take care of yourselves. Bye.